My family said I'd fail, so I made millions. My name is Elena Ward, and for most of my life, my family treated me like I was one bad decision away from disaster. Maybe it started when I dropped out of college, or maybe it started long before that, when my father decided that only one kind of success mattered, the kind that fit neatly into his world. He was a lawyer. My mom was a teacher. My brother Brandon was the prodigy, the one who got into Harvard, the one who had future senator written all over him. And then there was me, the girl who loved photography, design, and other useless hobbies, as my father put it. At 19, I told my parents I wanted to leave college and pursue my own business, graphic design, branding, and photography for small companies. My father looked at me like I'd just announced I wanted to join the circus. "You're throwing your life away," he said. "We didn't raise you to be a starving artist." I remember my mother's silence hurt more than his words. She didn't even look up from her coffee mug. When I moved out that week, they didn't come to see me off. I rented a room above an old print shop and took photos at weddings, restaurants, and events. At first, I made nothing. Some months I ate cereal for dinner. Other months, I almost couldn't pay rent. But I loved every minute of it. And slowly, things started changing. A local bakery hired me to do their branding, then a boutique, then a restaurant chain, then another one. In less than 2 years, my little useless hobby was paying more than most of my friends' corporate jobs. But my family didn't care. When I showed up at Thanksgiving that year, wearing a secondhand blazer and handing out printed photos as gifts, my father smirked and said, "You still doing that camera thing?" I smiled. "Yes, and business is good." He raised an eyebrow. "Good, as in, you finally have a real paycheck?" Brandon snorted into his wine glass. "She probably makes enough for gas money." I laughed. I didn't say anything because I didn't need to. The contracts waiting in my inbox spoke for themselves. A year later, I landed my first major client, a national cosmetics brand that wanted a full digital rebrand. They found me through my Instagram page. That contract changed everything. I rented a studio downtown, hired a small team, launched my own agency, Ward Creative Studio. Within a year, we were working with brands I used to dream about. And I never told my family. Not because I wanted to hide it, but because I'd learned something important. Some people don't deserve to see your growth up close. Then one day, life decided to hand me the perfect opportunity. My brother Brandon, the golden boy, had opened his own law firm. And apparently things weren't going well. He needed help refreshing the firm's image. He didn't know I owned Ward Creative. His assistant reached out to us like we were just another agency. I took the call myself. "Hello, this is Elena," I said. "Hi, this is Morgan from Ward and Trent Law Offices. We're looking for a rebranding proposal. New logo, website, everything." I smiled. Of course, I'd be happy to meet and discuss details. A week later, I walked into my brother's glass-walled office. He looked up from his laptop, froze, and blinked. "Elena?" In the flesh, I smiled and sat down. "You said you needed a brand overhaul?" He hesitated, clearly embarrassed. "I didn't realize this was your company." "That's fine," I said calmly. "Do you want to proceed?" He nodded slowly. "Sure, we could use the help." For the next 3 months, I worked directly with him and his team, designing their logo, rewriting their brand story, and rebuilding their online presence from scratch. They loved every deliverable. At the final presentation, I watched Brandon's jaw tighten when the rest of his partners started praising my work. "This is phenomenal," one said. "Elena, you've completely transformed our image." Brandon forced a smile. "Yeah, she's decent." "Decent?" The partner laughed. "This is world class." The invoice I sent afterward was for $48,000. They paid it without complaint. A few weeks later, a national magazine ran a feature about women transforming modern business branding. My face was on the cover. When my father saw it, He called me for the first time in years. "Elena," he said, voice shaky. "I saw your picture. I didn't realize how successful you've become." "Yeah," I said softly. "You never asked." He tried to laugh it off. "You know how parents are. We just wanted what's best for you." I let the silence stretch. Then I said, "I know. And I found what's best for me, without your permission." A few months later, I got another call, this time from my mother. Apparently, Brandon's firm was struggling again. The partner who'd praised my work left to join a competitor, and the firm was losing clients fast. "Your brother's thinking of closing down," she said. "Maybe you could help him?" I smiled to myself. "Help him how?" "You know, some marketing, maybe introduce him to your contacts." I laughed softly. "Mom, I already did help him, and he paid me well for it." She sighed. "Elena, you shouldn't hold grudges. You're family." "Family?" I repeated. "You mean the same family that told me I was throwing my life away? That laughed at my dream? That didn't call me for years?" She didn't answer. "Mom," I said finally, "I don't hold grudges. I just don't hand out second chances like business cards." She hung up without another word. That was the last time I heard from her. Since then, Ward Creative has grown into a global agency. We have clients in London, Dubai, Singapore. My team is 50 people strong. And my name, the one they used to mock, is on buildings, billboards, and brand campaigns. Sometimes I see my parents in the news, attending charity galas, smiling for cameras, pretending everything's fine. I let them keep their image. But I know the truth. And so do they. They said I'd fail. I made millions. And I did it without their approval, their help, or their belief in me. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't screaming or proving them wrong to their faces. It's becoming so successful that they have to hear your name from everyone else. So, what do you think? Would you forgive a family who doubted you until you made it big? Or would you keep your distance like I did? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Twisted Revenge Tales for more powerful stories like this.